Morning, all. All right, so a couple of things. First off, Shadow was asking for a pet, so I clearly had to give him a pet before the video got started. And man, this is you know with Adidas that the whites are kind of see through, but then you wear a black shirt underneath with like this is a Letterkenny shirt, and you realize, wow. Anyway, this is the preview and news video for this morning. It's part of the reason I cross my arms a lot of the time. So I look at the video and I'm going, wow, that's really sheer. But I like to wear different jerseys, and this is about as different as you get. So tonight we have two games. They both start at 10 o'clock Eastern. So if you're on the East Coast, you're probably gonna skip it because it's two teams from the Central visiting two teams in the Pacific that are miserable right now. So the 9-3-4 Winnipeg Jets in against the 5-10-2 Vancouver Canucks, who we will talk about in this. The special teams numbers not great for Winnipeg. 21.3% on the power play, 65.9% on the penalty kill. Got to fix that. Goals for and against, 3.19 goals for per game for Winnipeg, 2.5 goals against per game for Winnipeg. On the Vancouver side, their special teams 14.3% on the power play, which is 7% below Winnipeg. Their penalty kill 60.3%. So as bad as Winnipeg's power penalty kill is, and it is bad, the penalty kill for the Vancouver Canucks is worse. They're scoring 2.47 goals per game and they're allowing 3.41. Numbers are so baffling I can barely spit them out. This is the first of three meetings between these teams. December 10th and January 27th will be the other meetings. And based on last year's results and the previous year's results between these teams, I expect a Winnipeg victory. Also at 7 o'clock East or 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern, the Colorado Avalanche 7-5-1, starting to get things going in against the 4-11-1 Seattle Kraken, who, as bad as this is, are probably thinking, well, hey, at least this is year one, not year 52. So for Colorado, 19.6% on the power play, 85.3% on the penalty kill. They're scoring 3.54 goals per game. They're allowing 3.15. So they're going to want to bring the goals against average down, but the goals for are fantastic. On the Seattle side, their power play 12.5%, the worst on the board. Their penalty kill 81.2%. So their penalty kill much better than that of both Winnipeg and Vancouver. Their goals for 2.75, goals against 3.69. I've started seeing lists of players who are off to disappointing starts to the season, and Grubauer's name is up there a lot. This is the first of three meetings between these teams, meaning it's the first time they'll have played each other. They play again on January 10th as well as April 20th. So let me know who you believe will win those games in the comment section below. That being said, moving on to some news of the day, Rick Bowness is under some fire for scratching Riley Tufte. So it would have been his third game. He played the last two. He played 4 minutes in one and 7 minutes in the other. Bowness scratching him is a bad look. Why? Because they were playing in Minnesota last night. That's where Tufte grew up watching the Wild. It was a very important game. He had some tickets for family and for friends. Nick Bukestad helped out with making sure that as many people could be there to see Riley Tufte in a Stars jersey as possible. And Riley said there'd even be a couple of people in Tufte jerseys there, and it was going to be exciting. And then Bowness scratched him to put in Yoel Kiviranta, who had been a healthy scratch the previous two games. Bowness said that basically the lineup options he had available to him changed at the last minute. Thus, the reason he took Tufte out. He wished he could have told him sooner, as he had told Ottinger sooner that he wasn't playing, even though Ottinger had a good game the last game. I understand it might have looked a little bit shaky at times, but it's his first game of the season, and he's young, so But anyways, so all of his friends and family came out to watch Dallas get the absolute hell beat out of him 7-2. And him not being in the lineup for that, which I guess may have been a bit of a mercy for him. And yet, I mean, all those people had gone to watch him, and he wasn't in the lineup. So Bowness, and this underlines Bowness has had the issue this year where his lineup is kind of all over the place. He keeps mixing up the lines, and it's really throwing off fans, media, who are trying to figure out the plan. What is the plan? So Dallas, another team I follow and cheer for, seem to have a plan. So it's catching. Next up, Boston. All right, so yeah, I may do a video on Dallas today because deep down in my heart, I'm a masochist, and I enjoy talking about teams I cheer for not necessarily performing well. Kevin Labanc has a hearing today for a slew foot on Bozak. Now, here's the interesting part of this. The PK Subban incidents were called dangerous trips. This is being labeled a slew foot by Department of Player Safety in stating that they're having a hearing. So I would think since they're stating it's a slew foot, they're admitting it's a slew foot, there should be a suspension involved, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see if they actually suspend him or not, because we're at the point where, yes, I'm right there with you. I don't know what they're going to do. I have no idea. No clue. We'll see. Good news for Calgary Flames fans. The city had a planning commission, and they've approved a $600 million project, which would be a building to replace the Saddle Dome. So it's another step in the process. You'll notice that Bettman hasn't been there basically throwing the veiled threats to be a shame if we had to move, which he was before they announced that they were ready to replace the Saddle Dome. He hasn't said a word on it since that I've seen. It was blowing smoke. They weren't moving the team out of the city, but the Saddle Dome does need to be replaced. So we'll see how it goes, but that plan is moving forward. It's not the last hurdle, but it was considered to be a big hurdle for Calgary getting their new building. And yeah, they need to replace the Saddle Dome, not just for hockey reasons, but for concert reasons. It is not a building that works for concerts, and they're losing a lot to Edmonton, who has their brand new state-of-the-art building within a few hours' drive. So we'll see how that goes for Calgary, but right now it looks like they're not going to have any problem getting that new building built. So going back to the Canucks, Jim Benning had a press conference yesterday. You know, Lilybell, this is his room, so if you don't like it, I'm not sure what you're doing in here. She's just hissing at him. What? He just climbed the tree. He knows you hate him. You don't need to... She's decided to hang out in here today, so I don't know if you can see her or not. Not really. There's a tail. There's a tail wagging right there. What? You can certainly hear her. So anyways, she's chosen this room. I now have a bunny under here and 3 cats. So I told you, it's going to be a zoo eventually. But speaking of zoos, coming back to Benning, in that press conference yesterday stating that he expects playoffs. He still wants the playoffs this year because, I mean, and honestly, the Canucks should be saying that too. The thing that gets me is he can't explain what went wrong. He doesn't know what went wrong. So there, if you want a reason that Jim Benning should be out, that's it. If you're in year 8 of your job and everything's on fire and nothing is fixed, and you go, yeah, I don't know. If this was your car, if you had the same mechanic for 8 years and your car worked twice, meaning they made the playoffs twice, your car's worked twice in 8 years, probably getting a new mechanic, right? So why do people have a higher standard for their vehicle than the Canucks seem to have when it comes to the general manager, who doesn't know what went wrong? And at no point in the press conference yesterday did he say, you know what, I've made some mistakes and it's on me. Nope. So I would expect that maybe Travis Green ends up being out of a job, but I would say this. I said during the offseason I didn't like the Canucks' depth on the blue line. I wasn't sure about the forward depth either. And yeah, I mean, you know, Holtby leaves and Halak comes in, and to me that's kind of it's a lateral move because Holtby's gone on and done well in Dallas. I mean, right now he's hurt, but he's done well enough in Dallas. His numbers are similar to Halak's. And I just, again, what is the plan? And then when David Quadrelli asks him the question of, hey, you said in 2 years things were going to get really competitive. Is that still what you think? And Benning's answer was basically he didn't understand the question. So if he didn't want to answer the question, he would pretend he didn't understand what was being asked of him. Again, you know, so I noticed that I took my car out. You said you fixed the carburetor. It fell out of the car. Can't find it. And it's a strange thing. You just fix that. And if the mechanic looks at you and goes, I don't know what happened there. I don't know. What were you doing with the car? You need a new mechanic. So, yeah, at least it's early in the season, right? My favorite was, I saw one, I'm trying to remember who said it, one quote that said, we have 65 more games of this. So, yeah, yep. And they play tonight against Winnipeg, so here we go. Benning also said that the chants for his job were hurtful, and I thought you just made them louder. The right answer is, you know what? I understand. I understand why the fans are angry. I understand why they're frustrated. I'm frustrated too. I feel exactly the same way they do. If I was sitting in the crowd watching year 8 of the same sort of thing going on and everything being a broken record, I would probably want the job of the guy who's in charge. But you know what? I've got a plan. And then, bring out a whiteboard and say, here's what I want to do. Here's how I think we can fix this. Here's what the advanced stats are telling us. Here's what our scouting staff are telling us is going wrong. Here's what we're seeing on other teams. Here's how it's going to get fixed. Not just sit there and go, no. Beats me. Do you have a plan? I don't know. We'll sit down then. All right. Darnell Nurse is going to be out for the next few weeks for the Edmonton Oilers. Therefore, they have recalled Philip Broberg. Broberg looked decent in the preseason, so I think this will be not a good move necessarily because he's not going to play the same game Nurse does, but it'll be a good chance to see Broberg. Cuckoo got injured in last night's game as well. No update on how long he's going to be out, but yeah, so Nurse will be out for a few weeks. We'll see how that affects the Oilers. And if Broberg plays really well, and I'm kind of crossing my fingers that he does, what'll that do with their blue line, and who do you keep and who do you send down? Right. Also, on the officially retired list, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people in the comments saying, I thought he'd already retired. Troy Brouwer's made it official. 851 games, 182 goals, 181 assists, 363 points. At times in his career, I loved Brouwer. I thought his work ethic was great. I thought he was pretty good around the net. Hard-nosed player. Had a really good year in St. Louis, and then he ended up going to Calgary after that. The year he was in St. Louis, I thought he was fantastic. And the year before that with the Capitals, I was really impressed as well. And then it kind of went off the rails for him a bit. But, he still ends up playing 851 games. Last played in 2019-2020 with the St. Louis Blues. And again, this is not that unusual. There's a lot of players that are currently shown as UFAs, if you look on Cap Friendly, that you might go, wait, he hasn't retired yet? No. Players don't necessarily officially announce their retirements immediately after the season or at the start of the next season. It can take a while. So Brouwer makes it official, and best of luck to him. I liked him, and hopefully he stays in hockey, and he seems like the kind of guy that could eventually be a pretty good coach if he ends up taking that route. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.